Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. In a world that worships noise, that rewards the loudest voice in the room, one man, known for being the greatest talker, the greatest fighter, the greatest showman, reminded us of a truth far more powerful. Silence is golden when you can't think of a good answer. This is not just a quote, it's a strategy, a mindset, a weapon of the wise. And today, we break it down, not as a phrase, but as a philosophy that built Muhammad Ali into a legend. Welcome to a journey into the quiet strength of greatness. The man who could talk, but chose silence. Muhammad Ali was known for his voice, a voice that shook stadiums, a voice that crafted poetry in motion, that danced like a butterfly and stung like a bee long before his fists even moved, a voice that intimidated opponents before the first bell even rang. Yet behind that loud, charismatic, electric personality was a man who deeply understood the power of silence. He knew when to speak and when not to. He understood something most people never learn. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. Silence is control. Silence is intelligence choosing not to waste itself. Ali wasn't silent because he was afraid. He was silent because sometimes silence wins the fight before it starts. Why silence is a form of power. Psychologists say that silence activates the part of the brain responsible for deeper thinking. Silence is where new ideas are born, emotional storms calm down, true strength reorganizes itself, clarity replaces confusion. Muhammad Ali mastered this. When he didn't know the answer, he didn't fake one. When the world expected him to speak, he waited. When people provoked him, he analyzed. And when he finally spoke, he spoke with precision, purpose, and direction. Silence protects you from saying what destroys you. Silence protects you from reacting before thinking. Silence protects you from your own impulses. Ali understood this long before motivational speakers turned it into common advice. When words can hurt you more than failure. Too often, people destroy opportunities not because they fail, but because they speak without thinking. A moment of anger can ruin a relationship. A careless comment can ruin your reputation. A defensive answer can make you look weak. A rushed response can expose your confusion. Ali learned that silence is not running away. Silence is choosing the higher ground. Silence is saying, I refuse to lower myself to temporary emotions. That's what made him a champion, not just in the ring, but in life. Examples of Ali's strategic silence. People remember Ali's speeches, but they forget his silences. 1. The press conferences. When reporters cornered him with political traps, he didn't always respond instantly. He paused. He calculated. He chose silence over recklessness. He spoke only when the truth was clear in his mind. 2. The draft. Controversy. When the world attacked him, he didn't react with rage. He didn't fight fire with fire. He stood in calm silence, anchored in conviction. 3. Inside the ring. Real champions observe more than they speak. Ali studied opponents quietly, calculating patterns, weaknesses, openings. Silence made him unpredictable. Silence made him dangerous. Silence made him unbeatable. Silence in your own life. You don't need to be a boxer. You don't need to be a world champion. You don't need a spotlight or a stadium. But you do need silence. Use silence when someone tries to provoke you. You feel anger rising. You feel confused. You feel pressured to answer. You don't know what you truly feel. Yet, silence is not avoiding life. Silence is giving yourself time to understand life. The psychology of winning with silence. Research shows that silence, makes you appear more confident, builds the perception of intelligence, commands respect, makes your words more meaningful when you do speak. When you respond instantly, people sense insecurity. When you pause, people sense strength. Ali used silence as a mental weapon, one that disarmed opponents without throwing a punch. How to master strategic silence. Here is the technique Ali's mindset teaches us. 1. Pause before reacting. A 3-second silence can prevent a lifetime mistake. 2. Observe before speaking. The quieter you are, the more you see. 3. Protect your energy. Not every argument deserves a response. 4. Speak only with purpose. If the words don't add value, they subtract power. This is the mindset of warriors, thinkers, leaders, and people who walk through life with purpose. The golden moment of clarity. This is where Ali's quote reaches its full meaning. Silence is golden when you can't think of a good answer. It doesn't mean silence always. It means silence until clarity comes. It means silence until confidence returns. It means silence until the truth becomes undeniable. Golden silence is not the absence of an answer. It is the preparation of the right one. The legacy of silence. When people talk about Ali, they talk about his speed, his courage, his humor. But wise people know. His silence built his discipline. His silence built his strategy. His silence built the version of himself that the world still admires today. To be great is not just to speak well. It is to think well. And thinking requires silence. Greatness is not loud. Strength is not noise. Wisdom is not found in endless talking. Sometimes silence is the answer. Sometimes silence is the power. Sometimes silence is the victory. So the next time life demands a reaction, pause, breathe, think, and let silence guide you to the right answer. This was the mindset of Muhammad Ali. And now, it can be yours too. When silence becomes a form of courage. Most people associate courage with loud moments, shouting your beliefs, defending yourself, proving your point, responding instantly. But there is another form of courage, one far rarer, one far more difficult, one far more associated with greatness. The courage to stay quiet. Silence demands internal strength. Silence demands the ability to control your ego. Silence demands the maturity to allow storms to pass without reacting to every lightning strike. Ali understood that not every attack needed a response, not every question deserved an answer, not every comment required his energy. The greatest warriors choose their battles. The loudest people fight all of them. Ali was never the loudest in every moment. He was the loudest only in the moments that mattered. That is what made him unforgettable. The art of controlling the room without speaking. There is a moment during Ali's interviews that people rarely talk about. A reporter asks him a provocative question, a question meant to corner him, a question meant to shake him, a question meant to expose a weakness. Ali doesn't speak. He sits still. He looks directly at the reporter, and for a moment, the entire room freezes. No punch thrown, no word spoken, no movement, just silence. And yet, everyone could feel the power radiating from him. The reporter loses confidence. The audience becomes uncertain. The interviewer stumbles on his own words. Ali didn't have to respond. The silence responded for him. This is what people don't understand. Silence isn't emptiness. Silence is presence. Silence is psychological dominance. When you speak less, every word you eventually say feels heavier. Ali mastered that weight. Silence and patience, the twin powers of legends. Patience and silence walk hand in hand. You cannot be patient if you cannot be silent. You cannot be wise if you cannot pause. You cannot remain calm if you cannot control your tongue. Ali wasn't patient because he was slow. He was patient because he was strategic. Patience is the ability to understand timing, the ability to delay reaction, the ability to protect your energy, the ability to stay composed when others lose control, the ability to wait for the right moment instead of reacting to the wrong one. Silence strengthens patience, patience strengthens strategy, strategy strengthens victory, and victory strengthens legacy. Ali was playing a longer game than most people could see. Silence and inner peace. Silence is not only a strategy for the outside world, it is a sanctuary for the inside world. Ali had battles off the ring, media pressure, global attention, political attacks, personal doubts, health struggles. In those storms, silence was not a tactic, it was healing. In silence he found focus, inner reflection, connection with his purpose, understanding of his fears, the space to breathe. Silence is where you listen to yourself. Silence is where you talk to your future. Silence is where you plan your destiny without the noise of the world. Ali used silence to stay centered while the world tried to pull him apart. How? Silence protects your dreams. Most dreams die because people talk too much about them. They tell the wrong people. They share their ideas too early. They explain their plans to critics, doubters, jealous minds. They weaken their goals by exposing them to negativity. Ali knew that information is power, and not everyone deserves access to your power. Sometimes, silence is the wall that protects your dreams. If Ali planned a strategy for a fight, he didn't reveal it. If he strengthened a new skill, he didn't broadcast it. If he was mastering a new mindset, he didn't announce it. He kept his evolution silent and then shocked the world with results. Move quietly, train silently, evolve privately, and let your success speak loudly. That is the Ali way. Silence in an argument, the winning move. Ali understood something crucial. You don't win arguments by speaking. You win arguments by understanding. Arguments are fueled by ego, emotion, insecurity, the need to be right, the fear of losing face. Silence cuts through all of that because silence prevents escalation, keeps you in control, forces the other person to reveal more, reduces emotional pressure, stops you from saying something you regret, shows you are not threatened. Silence is not losing. Silence is refusing to play a losing game. Ali wasn't just a fighter in the ring, he was a master of psychological battles. And in psychological warfare, silence is often the knockout punch. Silence and the warrior mindset. Warriors throughout history understood that silence is part of discipline. Samurai practiced silent meditation. Monks mastered silent concentration. Generals studied silently before leading armies. Philosophers withdrew into silence to find truth. Leaders paused before making decisions that shaped nations. Ali stood in that same lineage. He was not just a boxer, he was a warrior with a disciplined mind. Silence gave him emotional advantage, clarity under pressure, the ability to predict opponents, a calmness that disarmed chaos, the mental space to perform at his best. Real warriors don't waste words. They save their energy for the battle. This is why Ali's silence was as legendary as his voice. When silence teaches you who people really are, silence has a magical quality. It reveals truth. When you stop speaking, you start observing. When you stop explaining, people show their intentions. When you stop talking, others fill the space. And in that space, you learn everything. If someone becomes uncomfortable when you are silent, they fear what you might be thinking. If someone becomes angry at your silence, they wanted control over your reaction. If someone becomes calmer when you are silent, they trust your presence. Silence exposes character. Ali mastered this psychological wisdom long before social psychology made it mainstream. Silence as self-respect. There is a moment in life when silence becomes dignity. You don't argue with small minds. You don't explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You don't respond to insults designed to provoke you. You don't give your energy to chaos that doesn't deserve it. Ali's silence said one powerful message. I value my peace more than your noise. That is self-respect. That is emotional maturity. That is strength. The silence between victory and greatness. Before every fight, Ali had a ritual. He would sit alone, quiet, still, focused. Those silent moments were sacred. They weren't empty. They were full of preparation, full of focus, full of determination, full of the calm before the storm. Silence allowed him to build the inner world that would conquer the outer world. Champions are made in the quiet moments no one sees. That is where greatness is formed. The final message. Ali's quote is simple, but it is not small. It is a philosophy for life. Silence is golden when you can't think of a good answer. It means protect yourself, choose your battles, stay calm, stay wise, stay patient, stay strategic, stay in control. Silence is not about avoiding life. It is about mastering yourself. Ali mastered that mastery, and now you are learning to do the same.